Good morning, everybody. GMGM, welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Getting this party started. Some quick reminder, send out a message to your students, your compadres, your companions, folks you know that should be in this class with us. And let's round up the troops. Let's get them going. It's an important day, isn't it? And I'm rocking the classic Earn 10K in 5 easy steps. What are those steps? What are those steps? I'll tell you what, here's the steps. Step 1, find the people. Step 2, tell a story. Step 3, build for events. Step 4, follow up. And step 5, duplicate. Guys, we are in such a great time right now. And as this real estate market dynamics change, right? The Federal Chair Reserve may be losing his job. The OBBA just passed, so a bunch of money is about to be printed. Pressure to lower interest rates, which means houses are going to be, I'm going to use air quotes, affordable. But a lot of refinancing is going to happen, which will inject even more liquidity into the market and spin up a bunch of stuff. So it's exciting times. What a time to be alive. Okay, let's check out some other stuff real quick. And before we get to that, actually, let's go here. Quick quote of the day. Being best is a false goal. You have to measure success on your own terms. Being best is a false goal. I mean, it is so devastating to your psychology to continually compare yourself to others. And that's what this is saying, right? Being the best is a false goal. Something I got to keep telling, well, myself, of course, but also my oldest boy, because he keeps trying to compare himself to the baby and how he's better. You know, he's faster, he's stronger, he's taller. And I'm like, dude, none of that matters. Are you stronger than you were yesterday? Are you faster than you were yesterday? And stop comparing yourself to a baby, right? But also, if you compared yourself to me, I'm faster than you. I'm stronger than you, right? So we're not comparing. You just say, I'm fast, or I'm strong, or I'm smart, but not smarter than. And because I'm wanting to make sure he sets this programming for himself up to never compare, right? They say comparison is the thief of joy. So ain't no thieves around here. All right, I want to give a big shout out to the top 10 this week. Well done. So in the number 1 position, we have Anna Zeppenfelt from the Virginia team. Congrats to you, Anna, being number 1 this week for top ICM income production. Well done. Number 2, coming out of Georgia, that's Mr. Daine Clark. Number 3, Tracy Grenny from the Orem team out of Orem, Utah. She's got such great energy and willingness to help and serve. Mitch and Maley won't be left out. They're in the number 4 position. Well done, guys. Mary Ann Seta from Draper, Utah, coming in at number 5. They are constantly in the top 10. John O'Lyman, a newcomer to the top 10. Welcome and well done. Keep up the great work. Yazoo Numera won't be left out either, from the East Coast in the number 7 position. Mahelani Eddy coming in at number 8. Hey, she was featured in our Invest Edge a couple weeks ago. Go check that episode out. Same with Nate and Becky Lambert. They were this week's episode. So congrats to them. And in the number 10 position, Mr. Ryan Dodge from the Texas team. So congrats to you guys. Super proud of what they've done down in Texas and the Life by Design. He bought a house on a lake and goes fishing a couple times a day with his boys. It's a beautiful thing, folks. Life by Design. That's what we're after. That's what we help others do. That's what you're working on. So continually spread that message and help more and more people achieve that. Exciting times. All right, tonight we got a game night in Sandy. We're playing Cash Flow 101 for the Utah team. Spanish team in Utah is doing a property tour. And then the West Coast team, they are doing an introductory Zoom with Sharon. The guy's an incredible investor. So if you're looking for online opportunities to put people into, I think Sharon does a fantastic job. Okie dokie. And then next week, of course, tomorrow, we got the Idaho Falls meeting with Kendall Stock, and we got the workshop down in Vernal, and the Vegas team is spinning some stuff up too. So if you know anybody in the Las Vegas area, I gotta go check something, but I think Las Vegas just hit highest listings in their market since 2009. Let me check that out real quick. ATM starts tomorrow, property tour Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And then as a reminder, the First Flip Challenge Accelerator Workshop. This is like an intensive on steroids. It's incredible. And we're going to be having our instructor, Jason Andros, come out, talk about how to buy properties at a discount. If you want to know the importance of discounts versus cash flow, watch my Monday recording. We broke down some numbers, did some cost comparisons, and discounts trump cash flow for the majority of the time. Of course, it is deal dependent and situation dependent, but more often than not, the discount is going to make the deal. And then also because of the discount, the cash flow is actually going to be better too. So something to think about. GM, everybody. GM, welcome. Got some newcomers in here. They just wanted to remind everyone too to put this call schedule into your calendar. Yes, it's nice I send out the texts, but having your own reminders, getting yourself prepared, and never missing these calls is one of the steps to your ultimate success. We are here to help. Now, as we were expanding on this conversation, I wanted to talk about the time cost of money. Daine will be here in just a minute, and then we will jump into his training. But do you remember we were discussing the fallacy, the sleight of hand, the lie that CPI is a reflection of inflation? Last week, the Federal Reserve and economic data came out and said that inflation was at 2.7. Okay. And they, everyone's, giving them grief because they said their goal was 2.5. They were expecting 2.5. Projections 2.5 comes out at 2.7. Now, having the media and numbers and everybody talking about that difference, 2.5 to 2.7, is such a distraction, an insult, and a lie. That is not the real cost of goods going up. Okay? You have to look at the money printer. The money printer is the debasement, is the devaluation of our currency. Let me refresh this page here. This is the money printer since 1980. Since 1980 to now, the money printer has just gone from 1.5 trillion to 22 trillion. Now, this isn't our debt. This is the money printer. This is just how many dollars they keep reproducing, counterfeiting, if you will. So when they tell you it's at 2.7%, that's not true. When we look at the increase from 1.5 to 22 trillion over a 45-year period, it's 7%. So now we can look at this and say, hey, 7%. You might think, well, it's not far off from 5 or 3 or 2. But when you look at the devaluation, and in 25 years, what 2% does to $1,000 is makes it 7. But in 25 years, What 7% does to $1,000 is it's $200. You're losing 80% of your purchase power at a 7% growth rate. And that's goodness. So anyway, get these 30-year mortgages, lock them in, because 30 years from now, $1,000 will be worth 150. And you can have a payment set for 30 years and let that baby coast. And while wages go up and income goes up, on a chart, the numbers are going up, but the devaluation is going down, so it's still break even, but you locked in payments for so low, so long ago. So what I'm trying to do is just bring the awareness that inflation numbers and Fugazi, so that you're not fooled. When you go to these dinners and different workshops and networking events, and you're talking to people, and they're talking about inflation at 2.7, you go, that CPI basket is a manipulated number. The true cost of inflation is the printing of money, the devaluation of the dollar. And that, historically, since the Federal Reserve was put into place in 1913, has been 7% a year. In the famous words of my friend Adam, you don't hate the government enough. Anyway. So let's do something about it. One of the best hedges against inflation is real estate. Real estate typically goes up at the rate of inflation. Now, some people argue that retail real estate doesn't. If you go pull up the numbers from the National Association of Realtors, they'll tell you real estate appreciates at about 5.6% year over year the last 50 years. But that's retail, right? So if you buy your stuff at discounts and then let it roll, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. As they print more money and devalue the dollar, your rent goes up, your assets go up, and if you do it right, you'll do better than break even. But if you do it just barely, you'll still break even. But obviously we want maximum benefits. So make sure you jump into your classes. We can tell which classes you're watching and which classes you aren't. So be serious about your learning path. There is an entire learning path called discount buying. Right here, discount buying. All these classes are for you for discount buying. That's what's going to set you apart from the average real estate investor, which already sets you apart from the average American. So anyway, jump into here day by day, knock these all off, fill out your notes, do the workbooks, and then take action. Call the homeowners, call the sellers, call the lenders, call your partners, call everybody, make it happen. Discounts increase cash flow. GM, you got this. Stop comparing yourself to a baby. Thanks, Eric. And yes, every 9 years, cut your income in half at this rate. Prior to 2008, actually prior to 2001, with this recession here, prior to this, I mean, look at that slope. It was 15 years. Every 15 years, you'd cut it in half. But since then, they've ramped it up, and now it's every 10 years, cut it in half with this incredible theft and robbery the last, or the 2 years after COVID. Crazy. Cool. So what our job as entrepreneurs is to turn information into directives. So that's what Steve said in the chat here. He goes, all right, so I'm getting some information. So how I'm going to turn that into action for myself is I'm going to run a massive pre-foreclosure cold calling campaign. Great. Get ahead of the curve. Before people start putting their head in the sand and saying, screw this, I'm just going to let it go to the banks and blah, blah, blah. You still need the homeowner on board with a pre-foreclosure or a short sale or something else. And so there's a window where you can catch them where their mindset is still willing to do something. So anyway, turn information into directives. Take the information and what are you going to do? How are you going to act on it? That's the difference between a successful entrepreneur and an average entrepreneur. Fair enough? All right, well, GM, let's get into it. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday, folks. It's one of the best times of the week where we get to expand our mind, try new ideas, build a plan, take action. And we have an incredible host today. His name is Mr. Daine Clark. He's been a part of our community for nearly a decade now. He has an immense amount of real estate technical knowledge. He's done fix and flips. He started out with the goal of rentals, but now has completely switched into private money lending. And we still need to make a name for this, but it's like a lease option purchase seller finance refi. And anyway, he has gone from 0 deals before Renatus to joining our program and now over 300 successfully completed deals. And there's no slowing him down. One of the most important things about learning from people in this space is you have to ask, are they honest? Are they ethical? And of course, are they legal? And the things that Daine teaches and acts on and helps guide people through are honest and ethical and legal real estate techniques. That's one reason why we're so grateful to have him here. The other thing I want to remind you all of is that we're having a camp out. And last year we did the camp out at his house, and 100 real estate investors swarmed his property. We had an incredible 3-day bonanza, masterminds, networking stuff. We had a blast. And so we're going to be doing another one, not at Daine's property, but close. We'll be doing it in Logan at a great camp spot. There'll be some waterworks and stuff so we can play. And we'll be having our big masterminds, campouts, networking stuff there. That'll be September 10th through the 12th. Anyway, there's some links in the Facebook group. I was just reminded of that. Anyway, since that last year, Daine has done nearly 100 deals. He will do multiple deals a week. But the thing is, it's about diagnosing the problem, having that good listening ear, and solving whatever challenge is there in a profitable way without taking risk. So, as a way to honor our students, as a way to honor our instructors, our CEO, the staff up there, we continue to watch our classes and represent the company well. Daine is also a top recruiter, helping new students get on board, understand the process, the program. He's just earned the $500,000 award for recruiting. So well done in that realm as well, Daine. So let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark. GM.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's my
Welcome.
audio working today. Yes.
Yes, sir. Great to see you.
Awesome. Private lender ninja. There we go. Yeah, I gotta come up with a name I gotta come up with a name for that. Something catchy, something that gets people, some people hear me talk about the puppy dog head tilt. Like you gotta say stuff that gets people to be like, wait, what?
Right. Like that the Burr method makes people say, wait, what? But
Yeah.
this is cooler than Burr. So
Yeah.
we'll figure something out.
Oh, love it. Well, cool. What was the thing you were showing on the screen right when I popped on? Was that foreclosures?
No, this was the money printer.
Mm.
The money printer, the debasement of our dollars, and then just being aware that when we're looking at the cost of increase of the money, which they're doing at 7% year over year, that 25 years from now, let's say $1,000 will buy you what $200 buys you now. And so one of the lowest hanging fruits, best possibilities for you to stay ahead is real estate investing. So if other people are telling you, well, stocks, S&P 500's up 15%, all these other things. Yeah, but
Yeah.
don't be fooled, folks. Real estate's where it's at. So, conversations for your networking events, your dinners, your different marketing and expanding your business, just different ideas to make sure you're speaking accurately.
Hmm. Yeah. What's that I think it was what's his name? The guy that teaches the life insurance.
Garrett, Garrett
Garrett
Gunderson.
Gunderson. So Garrett always said the best tax strategy is to make more dollars. And that was a pattern interrupt for me because I was living in a tax tail wag the dog situation where it's just like, oh, I can't earn money. We have to write it all off. And if I do earn money, we have to write it all off. But I think even inflation, the best hedge against inflation is to earn more dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Just just go build a bigger business. Go buy another house. Go whatever.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, yeah, it took me a second. Pattern interrupt, right? Like, wait a minute. I watched the tax class and they said write everything off. Sure, but yeah, don't let that tail wag the dog. Earn
Yeah.
more dollars. And then also when you're in the 250 bracket, the 500 bracket, the 800 bracket, you're not paying 40% on the whole 800. And that was something else that I didn't understand until his
Yeah,
class.
me neither. That was news to me. Like, wait, what? I still pay the same amount of taxes as everybody else on that first so many
Yeah,
dollars. I was like,
yeah,
oh, so it's not as bad as I thought.
exactly.
So, um, but yeah, don't let the tax tail wag the dog. Don't. I mean, it's crazy. I run into people who legit say, I can't earn any more money because I'll pay more taxes. I'm just like, dude. Paying taxes is like a freaking pat on the back. That's like it's like an
Confirmation.
award. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I wrote $100,000 check to the IRS. You know what that means? You made a lot of money.
One year I wrote a $179,000 check to the IRS.
Dude, that's a freaking badge of honor. Like, that
Yeah.
means you made a bunch of money.
Yeah. I remember telling Bob Snyder that, and he goes, well, I can't wait till you get to write $1 million check to the IRS.
Yeah,
Keep going,
yeah.
buddy. Wow.
Oh,
New goals.
love it. So cool. Well, what's
This-
cooking today?
I was, I'm sorry, I was just wanted to add to it. The pattern interrupt was when Huggins was going through the back of the office of Renatus, and he did the package of the discount buyer deals, and it was like I've done that so many times, and I was just thinking, it just popped in like, huh, I could just sell one of the one class 1,000, I mean 1,250, and then upsell them and be like, hey, why don't you get the whole discount package classes and just boom and upgrade them to the accelerator, or whatever,
Hmm.
to funnel it
Yeah.
out. I never thought about that. I've done that so many times and just like boom, hit me. Well,
See? That's why you
Totally.
show up every week, right?
absolutely.
100%.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing, man. We got a lot of new people on the call today and a couple people we haven't seen for a while. So welcome back, everybody, and welcome GM to the new people. Just as a reminder, GM is good morning, generate money, gracious mindset, and what? What was the other one? We came up with a bunch last week.
How about get moving?
Get moving and gain
Good
muscle.
moving.
There we go.
There you go. Love
So
it.
GM.
Oh, that's awesome.
So any aha moments for you this week, Daine? What what's something new that you learned this week that you want to share with the group? And then of course some tried and true principles that we need to check in and make sure people are building good habits.
Yeah. Let's see. I gotta remember. Um,
Yeah, Daine lives a week in a day, by the way, everyone. So
so two things actually. So one was, and obviously the for my brain can't not go to stories and conversations and and so Laura, I got you noted. Um, So in the 4 boxes, there's anybody that's never heard this really quickly. There's only 4 categories that every human can relationship. There's only 4 relationships that every human can have with real estate. 1, they like real estate, they want to be passively involved. 2, they like real estate, but they want to be actively involved, and so passive and active, but both of these like real estate. Number 3 is they don't like real estate right now because it's a pain in their butt and they've got problems. They own a house and they're going through foreclosure. They're trying to buy a house and they can't. Even though they make more money than they ever have in their life, they need to sell this property, but whatever. Like, just real estate, they have problems and you need to solve them because you watch your classes. So number 3, they don't like real estate because they have problems with it. And then last but not least, they don't like real estate because stories, either other people's stories or their own, but it's currently not in their life, but they don't want it to be. So no relationship no relationship necessarily to real estate on the last one, but there's stories, and I love getting those stories. So I had a guy come to he called me out of the blue, and I've known this man for many years before Renatus. So this gentleman knew me even when I was super shy and super timid and whatever. Like, he watched me grow up pretty much. And so he calls me out of the blue and is like, "What are you doing?" And I tell him, and I tried to get him into Renatus. Like, long time ago, I tried to get him, and I think he even came to some of the meetings, if I remember right, but just would never commit, would never commit, would never commit. Always like, yeah, whatever. And then always ended up like, "Oh, I got this other stuff." And so I'm going to go do that. And so he calls me and he goes, "Hey, I just got laid off." And so all of a sudden he's like, I got to figure stuff out. I got to figure stuff out. I just got laid off. And so that means that I'm starting my business. And it is just so funny I tell these stories all the time, but it's like it's just so true that every time you have somebody and you place them in one of the boxes, it doesn't mean it's forever, but dig your well before you're thirsty. Yes. And so I'll come back to that in just a minute. But anyway, so he calls up, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm just like, I mean, at this point, I can't hide it. Because he says, "Hey, I remember you said you moved. Can you I'd love to come and see you. And I know you said you were somewhere in like Cache Valley, so I've got a family reunion up there. So can I stop by your house?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, always. Absolutely. Yeah." So he comes by and is just like looking at the place, looking at we got the little river, the waterfall, the beaver dam. We got, looking around, and he sees my man cave that's like 3,000. It's bigger than the house. And he walks in and it's just crazy because he's like, "I lost my job," and he goes, I think he was just dumbfounded. Like, this is what you've been doing all these years that I was kind of interested, but ended up going back to my golden handcuffs, cushy job, and I was able to tell him, like, "Dude, yeah, did this many deals, like, 300 some odd deals now, 360 some odd." And I could see it in his face that he was just like, why didn't I start? Why didn't I start when things were cushy? And the only thing I can think is that he was thinking that it would never dry up. He worked for Microsoft. Like, he was a bigwig in Microsoft. And he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "It's so weird. Like, we had all these contracts that were like, we had so much business revenue in the pipeline to close that basically, like, the only problem was that we had to perform. Like, the deals were done. Microsoft is gonna get paid with all these contracts that we were lining up, and they just laid me off." And he's like, "And I don't know how all the people that because he's like, they're not hiring more." And so he's like, "I don't know how all the people that are still there are going to handle all of this work that's lined up, like revenue, money generation. Anyway, so he's dumbfounded. Which just again, like went back to show like he never thought that it would end working for someone else like that. And I could just see it in his face because the questions that he was asking were different than I have ever heard him ask ever before. Because it was always like, yeah, like real estate, I want to do this someday, and would just disappear all the time. And here we are where he's just like, now it matters. And so back to the let's laugh to make it happen. Yeah. And so now, like Michael says, you dig your well before you're thirsty. I was doing that the whole time. This guy watched me go from like, I think I'm gonna get into real estate. And then I did my first deal. And then oh, we did our fifth deal. We did our 10th, we did our 100th deal. And even though we were making more money than we ever have in our lives, it was still building those coffers, doing more deals. And I have some people ask me like, Daine, like, why don't you just like stop? Because I could just stop and be a hermit, live on my little ranch here and never make another dollar ever. And we'd be fine. But who knows what's coming? And you don't want your brain to just turn to mush. Like for some reason, I have this weird like call, if you will, to keep my brain sharp, to continue closing, to continue raising money, to continue all those things. Like for some reason, we don't know what's going to happen. And so anyway, dig the well before you're thirsty. I can't, no, I got to write that one down. Dig the well before you're thirsty. And so anyway, so that was just like a big aha moment for me to watch this gentleman for the last roughly 10 years. I mean, I joined Renatus in November of 2015. And so this November that will be my 10-year anniversary of handing over 4 credit cards and saying, run them to my enroller. This better work. And so this guy's watched me for almost 10 years. And here he is, ready to get going. So we might have a new combo holder here pretty soon, unless he gets the shiny object syndrome and anyway.
Did he get it like a severance package or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Sweet.
So good, yay, but he's got to figure stuff out. And so anyway, so back to the 4 boxes. Nothing's permanent ever. I can't tell you how many people end up in my not interested box due to ignoring like his situation where he's just like, I want it. Like you ever had those people where they're like, yeah, I want this. I want it. Real estate. Yeah. And then just like gone.
Mm-hmm.
Seen those ones?
Yeah.
No, you don't because they're gone.
Well, yeah, heard about it.
And so, and so frustrating, yes, but it doesn't mean it's forever. I can't tell you how many people. The biggest box. Maybe
and that's why we have step 4 right here, which is follow up.
Continue follow up. Yeah. In fact, maybe I should make this box the not interested because it's the biggest box. This is that anyway. Whatever. It's my biggest box. The not interested box is by far my biggest box, but it's not ever permanent. I can't tell you how many stories I have of people like, hey, life change, insert life change. I think I need to look at this deeper because I wasn't digging my well before I was thirsty. Now I'm thirsty. And I will say that that's a hard mentality to enter real estate. When you're thirsty, it's a hard mentality to enter real estate. So do it before. Use this story
Mm-hmm.
in your conversations. Like, don't be that guy. Because had
Can we
he
make up a name for him?
oh man.
Let's make up a name so we can keep saying that guy.
Don't be the, I don't know, don't be the guy that doesn't dig your well. Like
How about we call him Mr. Pedasso?
Mr. Pedasso.
Stuart Pedasso.
Oh.
Call him Stu for short.
Don't be
Stu.
Stu Pedasso for short. I just got that.
That's what I put down in like restaurant reservations and stuff. I put down Stuart Pedasso, call me Stu.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, don't be Stu Pedasso. Oh, that's hilarious. Um,
All right, should we jump to Laura's question?
yeah, because like I say, when you enter the real estate game and you have to make money because you have to pay bills, you'll make mistakes. And so why not enter real estate when it's comfortable? Why not force yourself into the discomfort so that you're laying you're digging the well, so that you're digging the well before you're thirsty. Oh, it's gonna be an interesting road for this gentleman. I'll tell you that for sure. Not, in my opinion, not the best time. He should have started this years ago. But you know what? Right now is the next best time. And so here we go. Hold on for dear life. Um, and I guarantee he'll probably be one of the ones. There's a type. He'll be the type that you have to be like, that's not a deal. That's not a deal. That's not a deal. Is this a deal? No, that's not a deal. I know the type. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Who was the one that had the question? I got to scroll back. Laura, go ahead.
Yes. Hi, good morning, Jim.
Jim.
Okay, so I hope that I can articulate this question
We'll
okay,
help you.
because I have so many thoughts in my head. We are in the first flip challenge, and right now our assignment is to go door knocking to find leads. With that in mind, we just watched market analysis, and investor ID, so we understand Walmart neighborhoods versus Target versus Nordstrom, and don't buy the bigger house, the biggest house in the neighborhood with all the smaller houses, or vice versa. Don't buy the smallest house with all the humongous houses around. I'm thinking about all of these things, and also creative acquisitions, like, address the challenge that these people have. If they don't have a challenge, then they don't need you. And also looking for leads in the county records and in the Renatus iOS, like looking for notices of default and all these things. So we, and then I've also been talking to a real estate agent, and he's like, if you just go door knocking without a lead, like knowing that they have a notice of default is like throwing a bunch of spaghetti on the wall and see which one sticks. So it's like a lot of time, a lot of effort, and you don't know if you're even going to get anything. But other people say, you never know. You may knock on a door and they may either have a lead, or they may want to come to an event or whatever. So there's no bad neighborhood to go knock doors. And we went to, the first day, we went to a Walmart type of neighborhood. And the people that I was going with, like, that was not their investor ID. They were not having a good time. It wasn't hitting their drive. And the people that we were running into, they had a different mindset. They were like defensive. Don't bother me. I don't want to talk to you. The next day, we went to a Nordstrom one, and everyone was so nice and so encouraging. We left there more uplifted than we got there, because everybody was into real estate. They said it was the best thing, that if they had known about real estate before, they would have never gone to dental school or whatever. And they gave us a couple of leads, but all these houses are over $1 million, like 1.1, 1.2,
Mhm.
1.3, and some of them have been in the market for over 100 days. But also, that's where we find the most notices of default. When we went to the Walmart type of neighborhood, we found that everyone had already paid off their house and they've been there for a long time. They had absolutely no motivation to leave. Yeah, so I'm like, but then Brian Samp also says, don't get into deals that are over $450,000 where the house is over 450,000. But that was in 2023. I don't even know if that's possible right now here in Utah. I'm
Mhm.
in Utah, by the way.
Yeah,
And
it is, but
so
yeah, beside the point.
so yeah, so I'm like, if I get a lead in one of those Nordstrom neighborhoods, which hits the drive and the investor ID of the people that I'm knocking with, am I able to even do anything? Am I going to find a hard money lender that will actually be willing to invest in that? And am I going to find an investor that will want to buy this house if I wholesale it? If, like, I'm like, so
Yeah.
am I wasting my time knocking doors there, even though it hits their drive and their investor ID? Like, I need help.
Um, I'm going to say this, and it's not going to feel fair, but at the same time, you'll see what I mean. Both can be true at the same time. So in the beginning, every single conversation you have, no matter who it's with, is valuable mostly to you. I remember when I was new that I just had to get conversations out of the way because I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never bought a house in my life. I didn't even know what a realtor was. Like I had to start asking people in the community, like, so what exactly does a realtor do? And like, oh, there's two realtors? Like, why is there two realtors to sell one house? I didn't understand it. And so in the beginning, every single conversation you have is valuable mostly to you because you're learning how to process these conversations. You're learning how to articulate. You're learning how to speak the lingo like off the back of your hand. Getting to know the lingo like the back of your hand. And so it doesn't matter where you go. Just talk to whoever will talk in the beginning. And I used to say, like, just try to have 100 conversations as fast as possible. Just get them out of the way with whoever, anybody. Sure, my favorite ones are just go down your contact list, and that's what I did eventually because I did the same thing. I was knocking doors, I was putting signs out that would say, I will, let's see, I put signs out on the side of the road that said, I will make, let's see, I will buy your house, and house was big. So I will buy in small letters your house in big. So sorry, I will buy your small house big. I will make your small payments big. And so at quick glance, people would just see house payments. And then when they actually look at it, it's like, oh, I will buy your house, I will make your payments. And so I'd put signs out like that. And I would get all kinds of calls. More conversations though. And did I close any deals from that? No. But man, I had some good conversations with people. In fact, I think I made at least 2 offers, but they ended up not panning out. I will say that I invited several people to come down to the Thursday night meetings though, because the conversations went that way from those people, and which was interesting to me. But thank goodness for Renatus, yes. So those first 100 conversations are just invaluable to you. If you close a deal, great. You'll probably do better than I did by doing that. But at the same time, it's just training. And I had to look at it that way. I just had to look at it as like, you know what? I know the mindset is that I'm wasting my time, that I'm wasting these leads, that I'm wasting. No, because every single conversation you have that you can then replay in your mind and realize like, oh, here's what was said and here's how that went. And, basically analyze every 100 conversations. Like literally, if you can tell the story of all of those first 100 conversations, because, and the reason you can tell the story is because you analyzed it and you remember, take a journal even. Those are for you. Those first 100 conversations are more for you. And so just get them out of the way because everyone has to learn how to speak the lingo and start somewhere. And what's interesting is this even applies to somebody that's been in real estate for a decade. Like there are people that have been title agents, realtors, loan officers. They are in the real estate space, inspectors, but they don't speak investor. Doesn't matter where they came from. If they've been in the real estate space, and it's funny because there are people that show up like that. There's people that are, oh, I've been in real estate for 30 years as a realtor. And then they don't know a dang thing about the investor lingo. And so just get them out of the way. You won't waste your time at all. Now, also, I'm not sure if you picked up on this. I'm guessing some other people did, but of the 4 boxes, who are you talking to in those different neighborhoods? Like I could hear it where you're like, like there's a lot of people in the Walmart neighborhoods that are just like not interested because stories. Seeing people get hurt, seeing people get stepped on, seeing whatever. And so maybe not their own, but just like, don't talk to me about real estate investing. Go away. The last box. But then over on the other side, you're like, yeah, they were nice. Like they were doctors. The only thing I could hear was like my passive investor beacon screaming like, oh, you're talking to doctors in these other neighborhoods? And they wish they hadn't just gone to doctor school. What do they call that? I don't know. Doctor school? Continuing ed?
Medical school, I guess.
Medical school, yeah. Thank you. I never went, obviously. So those people's like, well, yeah, the best time to have gotten into this was before that, but the next best time to get into this is now. And then you tell a story of a conversation that you just had with someone else that applies. I know we've got doctors in Renatus. Dr. G, just because it's in his name, I know he's a doctor. I think he's a doctor. But Dr. G is a member of Renatus and did lots of deals. And in fact, he passed away, didn't he?
Yeah, about a month ago,
That's right.
Yeah, he had, but you know what? He was such a badass. He had like a neck surgery and this surgery and that surgery and still built his business. And he didn't even get started in Renatus until he was 67 and bankrupt.
Yeah.
And turned everything around, got his kids in, and
homeless.
What's that?
And homeless. And he was homeless.
Homeless. You said 67?
Yeah.
And so is he a real doctor?
Yeah, a doctorate of psychology or something like that.
But still,
Yes.
doctor nonetheless. It was in his name. So
he was one of the top thoracic surgeons in the United States. He lost everything because his hand started shaking. You can't have a heart doctor opening your chest if he can't keep his hand straight. Within 18 months, he was homeless.
Crazy.
You need Renatus now, not later.
Crazy. Dig the well before you're thirsty. I'm gonna reuse that one. That one's brilliant. So there are stories, and so Laura, when you're talking to people like that, in fact, let me put it this way. So I had another. So Michael asked me if I had some ahas. Here was another one, and I might have actually shared this before, but one of the things that came up in one of my conversations this week was. And I see this all the time, myself included. I was in this boat when I first got started, that I wanted to tell people about my business idea all the time. And it's always an idea before you start of like, here's my business idea and this is what we're doing and here's the program and here, like, and almost like fake it till you make it. And I found that that's all people would see, is that like I'm still trying to work through how I'm articulating my sentences and put them together, and I looked like I was faking it till I make it, because I didn't have any substance. I couldn't say like, oh, look at all these deals. I couldn't say what I said today. Oh, I've done 360 deals. When I was new, I couldn't say that. I couldn't even say I had done one. And this came up in the conversation recently, because I had somebody that's like, yeah, like I'm gonna start, getting excited. Like, yeah, I'm gonna start telling everybody, here's what I'm doing, here's my business model, here's my idea. And I stopped him. I said, no. If you go read the Bible, in there it says that he left the 90 and 9 to save the one. And I cannot tell you how much better people respond when you talk about the one versus the 90 and 9. Because if you start talking like, oh, we're gonna help 99 people, we're gonna do this program, and when you start talking like that, for some reason, maybe somebody can explain this to me, like it just turns people off. But when you talk about the one, and you have the hero's journey, essentially, you talk about the one person that got helped, that you helped, that somebody else helped, whoever. When you talk about the one, man, it just sucks people in when they hear that story. And so even today, where I've done hundreds of deals, guess what I talk about when I talk to people? I talk about, and I hone in, I put the blinders on. I usually don't even tell people that I've done 300 some odd deals, unless I feel like it's relevant. But in most cases, it is not. I put the blinders on to everybody else and all the other people I've helped, and I focus on one person that changed their life, that it made a difference in their life. And so when you're out there knocking, let's say you're knocking in those Nordstrom areas, and people are talking about, oh man, I should have done this all those years ago before med school, doctor school. And you start telling them stories like, oh my gosh, tell Dr. G's story. And if you don't know it, find people who do and hear it enough so that you can then regurgitate the story to serve the purpose of your conversation, right? Keep all the true aspects, yes, but give the perspective of something that relates to them. Talk about the one, like forget the 90 and 9. Put the blinders on, talk about the one person that made all the difference in their life. And the story is basically relevant to your current conversation. And using those phrases like, oh man, the best time to start was, yeah, before med school, but the next best time to start is now. Let me tell you about this guy, this gal. Let's see, somebody else posted in here. I think Tamara said that Ram Mishra is an MD. Go learn Ram Mishra's story. Find out who knows that person's story and learn it, and basically have it in your tool belt for when the conversation goes a certain way. Nothing else exists, and you tell that person's story that made all the difference. And obviously only tell stories that you would duplicate for yourself. Meaning, like, yeah, you tell Ram's story, which I don't even know the story, but you tell Ram's story that and through the perspective that you would duplicate it, that you would be the person that was the hero in Ram's life, because you could be the hero in the person's life that you're talking to. Let's say you knocking doors and be like, yeah, like helped, this person needed this kind of help and this is what they did. And that person gives you the puppy dog, like, wait, what? I need that. Oh yes, Eric makes a really good point. Renatus has, I would guess, hundreds. I mean, Michael did the, what'd you call that sprint? The every day, I think it was, or every day of the week you guys did testimonials.
It
and
was 100 days, like 102 days. The zoom ups.
the Zoom ups. Michael did 102. Was it basically Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday? Basically every day of the week for 102 days.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And that's libraried somewhere.
I'll post a link right now.
There, see where I'm going with this? Like Michael knows. So learn all these stories so that when you are having conversations with people in the Walmart neighborhoods and they're like, blah, and oh, I forgot to mention this too. When people are in box number 4, that is real estate is taboo, like don't talk to me, but get on my face. Usually there is a story. And my favorite thing to say to those people is, sounds like there's a story there. In fact, it's funny because how you do one thing is how you do all things. And you begin to realize that life is life and everyone's going through it. And so not only did I learn that when, yeah, I'm talking real estate and I'm trying to identify which box people are in. And when people are mad and angry about real estate, that I'm like, there sounds like I even use that in just normal life. If I ever see somebody angry, not about real estate, just in general, it's funny. I find myself saying, sounds like there's a story here. And it's so interesting. It stops them in their tracks. And they all of a sudden feel heard. And they start telling the story. And usually we can get to the bottom of whatever's going on instead of just moaning about it. It's interesting. But
I love that. Yeah. Thank
in
you so
in that
much.
last box, people that are like, bleh, like be genuinely interested. Like what's the cliche phrase? Like what makes them tick, kind of a thing. Like legitimately, like what caused them to think this way, and how can you formulate a question that kind of disarms them, that makes them feel heard, that all of a sudden gets them talking like, oh my gosh, like man, like when they have this negative, like whoa, like man, sounds like there's a story here. And then you just kind of shut up and look at them awkwardly. Like, man, sounds like there's a story here. And oftentimes they will feel the awkward silence and start talking. And so yeah, this is why I say, like, your first 100 conversations that you have when you join Renatus, they're mostly for you, and you will cherish them, especially if you choose to remember them. If you choose to kind of journal about them, whether it's mentally journal about them and kind of replay them in your head and maybe tell the story to some of your closest friends of like, yeah, I had this conversation, because all wealth is built through conversation. So might as well make them the most valuable thing especially that first 100. Or if you choose to journal like in writing. So journal mentally or journal in writing. I mean, you can probably guess which one's better, but you can probably also guess which one most people do. So which one are you going to be? Just decide. And that's all it takes is a decision. But yeah, cherish these first 100 conversations. And you know what's interesting? When you live off of advice like this, and saying I could tell so many stories of like how you do one thing is how you do all things. When you live off of advice like this, it is so crazy to hear the stories from people that where they get going down that journey, like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna have 100. I don't care where they go. I'm not wasting my time because these are for me. All the things. It is so crazy that oftentimes those conversations begin to shape which route you want to go, and you end up finding what you want through all of these conversations. And yeah, you learn things, but it's crazy where it points you in different directions because of what you learn. And again, like this applies to everything. Like a lot of people know I just bought this ranch, and I've never there's a lot of things that I've never done before. I grew up on a dairy farm, so I could be like that real estate. The people that have been, I've been farming for 20 years, for the first 20 years of my life, but I didn't know a dang thing. I knew how to work hard. That was it. I didn't know anything about science or none of that stuff. And so I'm learning that. And so there's so many things that I find myself in that, what do they call it? Analysis paralysis, where I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know what I don't know. And it hinders me. But all of a sudden I just say, you know what? Who cares? I don't care if any one of my neighbors see me doing something dumb because they're all professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to start. And it's crazy because I learned what I needed to learn just because I decided to start. And yeah, I probably looked dumb for a minute, but I learned what I needed to learn just because I decided to start. And I figured that that first attempt would be more valuable to me than what I'm actually doing. And I would waste time and money. Again, using that waste word to myself, I might define it as wasting time and money. But in reality, no. It was the most valuable time that I could spend by just starting, even though I didn't know where it was going to go, because I learned what I needed to learn through it. And so just have those 100 conversations as fast as you want to have them. Some people, myself, some people, it might take a year to have 100 conversations in their
Mm-hmm.
first Renatus experience. Some people might take 30 days to have 100 conversations, but 100 is 100. And you'll be shocked at where it takes you, especially if you take that accountability to just to journal them, if you will, whether mentally or written, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But if you take the time to remember them and have conversations that you want to remember, oh man, it will change your life.
Oh, thank you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate this because it gave me clarity that I had so many shiny objects and so much information in my head. I just didn't. And you're right. This is a competition. So I think I was probably being external and thinking, okay, we got to get a deal. We got to get a deal. What are we doing to get a deal? But maybe it's not so much about the deal. It's about learning and being more internal. So I absolutely love that because now there's no pressure. It doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah.
just going to go there, enjoy my time, knocking doors, having conversations, and I don't even care if I have a
Yeah.
deal or not.
Deals will be
Yeah.
inevitable. Like that was the affirmation I eventually assigned to this was I'm having conversations with people. Deals will be inevitable. And they were. We did a lot of
Okay.
so
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah, love it. Thank you so much for like dusting off that part of my brain, if you will. Like I haven't talked about this in a while. And you're making me relive in a way. I'm kind of envious of you, to be honest, because I can never have that experience again in my Renatus journey. And those are the ones that I cherish so much because I'm gonna start crying. It changed my life.
Well, you can cherish this one. You're changing my life too. I almost cried when you were talking.
Oh my gosh, like yeah, you're bringing back memories for me that I love that part of the story. I didn't, if you asked me when I was in your shoes, I would have, oh man, I wasted my money. I remember having those thoughts. All that 20 some odd $1,000 down the drain because I haven't done a deal yet. I remember having a lot of those thoughts. So yeah, in the moment, I wouldn't have said that. But now, oh, I look back and I cherish it because it was what paved the road to where we are today. And you will too. I guarantee it.
Thank you.
Love it. All right. Did I see more questions? I've been trying to kind of watch those comments. New doctors need velocity banking. Yes, yes, they do. So one of your stories, one of your, and again, I would usually just pick one story for each Renatus class. I would find somebody's story in each Renatus class, and I would just like destroy, I shouldn't say destroy that story. I would use and reuse. I wore out the pages of that story, virtual story, because I would use and reuse it all the time until I had another one or a better one or whatever. Because yeah, now I have thousands of stories, but even today, I still actually use like the same few stories that I had in my tool belt to tell because they were good enough to get the point across for the person on the other side. Love it.
Hey,
Alex.
good morning, Dane. This is
Yes.
Brian.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
Mm.
So basically I wanted to find ways to get funding, but my credit isn't the best right now. So what are kind of some ways you can get around that
Funding for what?
for a deal?
Okay. So,
Um,
so
mhm,
private money.
okay.
Um, y-
So how, I
Go
guess,
ahead.
because I have a person in mind. So how would I kind of go terms
Um,
and everything goes?
don't kill the messenger. But same thing I said to Lara. Um, but you're just gonna have a different goal in mind. So go have 100 conversations, right? And there's actually some science behind this because when you decide I'm gonna have 100 conversations, like you stop caring about how they're gonna go because in the mindset right now, like again, I'm not gonna say don't talk to the person you have in mind, but just don't
Mhm.
have it worked up in your mind that they are the only one.
Right.
That if they say no, like crap, I guess I can't do this, or I get it's human nature and happens to everybody. But if you take the same mindset as Lara, in fact, this just hit me. Was it Tim Davis? Are you the one that was messaging me on Facebook? I gotta look at my Facebook Messenger real fast. Yes. I never talked to you. We never brought up what I told you I was gonna bring up. So maybe we talk about that now. But in a deal, it takes three things. It takes the deal, the opportunity, whatever, right? The person that's in trouble, the person that is box number 3, property with a problem, right? So it takes three things to get into a deal. Property with a problem person, money, manpower. Okay? So property, money, manpower. And so Lara, the whole conversation with her was she's looking for the opportunity, right? She's out there trying to knock the door. She's trying to find the deal, right? You're just looking for the second one, the money. And I could tell you, it's so crazy how there's so many parallels with everything in life, but dig the well before you're thirsty when it comes to raising money. I would tell you that right now by experience. Like, what headache would you rather have? Again, I'm just going to soapbox here for just a minute. But what problem would you rather have? Where, let's say Lara goes and finds the deal, and all of a sudden someone's like, yeah, you can buy my house for 50 cents on the dollar. And right off the bat, I mean, that's a good deal. Most of the cases, unless there's really, really bad stuff going on. But 50 cents on the dollar, yeah, buy the house. And then she needs to find money for it. Or would you rather have the problem where you've had tons of conversations about people that want to be box number 1, passive investors, that are like, yeah, I like the idea of twiddling my thumbs and having deals presented to me. And that's basically the premise of the conversation. Um, and then they're like, yeah, show me a deal. And you're just like, I don't have any right now. Like, which problem would you rather have? Have the deal, and now I have to find money on a time crunch because I have to close the deal, and I told him 2 weeks. Or would you rather have somebody be like, yeah, I want to put money in real estate. Where's the deals? Be like, I'll go find them. Which headache do you want? And so always be, in my opinion, always be raising money. Always, because I've been in both scenarios where I have a deal and a time crunch, and I have to raise the money for it. And man, you have to poker face. I know we've talked about this on that call, but you got to poker face it when you're raising money, and you have a deadline versus just raising money generally and saying, yeah, I'm looking for deals. I've got, nothing has popped up right now, but I mean, if some of these go through, then we could be closing them in the next couple of weeks. That's always true. Because if you're doing what Laura's doing, that's always true. She could have somebody pop up that you could close a deal in 2 weeks from today, July 23rd. And so when you're raising money, you can say that if you're doing what Laura's doing, where she's actually looking at deals. She's talking to people that could end up in deals. Anyway, so the same is true in either scenario. If your goal is to go raise money, go have 100 conversations, and none of them will be a waste. None of them. But your mindset will now be like, instead of like, okay, I have a guy that I want to talk to. That's great. But if your mindset, but at the same time, but if your mindset is, I'm going to talk to 100 people about putting money into real estate, basically box number 1, passive investors. Now all of a sudden your mindset isn't so focused on like, oh, like this one has to work. Because you're going to talk to 100 people. And it's so interesting because with that, again, same scenario as Laura, when you choose to do that, all of a sudden your conversations direct you to the next one. Your conversations direct you into the next place you're going to have that conversation. It's amazing how this works. Like, I can't even explain it other than the mindset of done perfect. Because you start, and just the fact that you start, people see it. So same advice, go have 100 conversations and make that your mindset, because your conversations will be different, because you're just like, you're just a number on my list of 100. I need to talk to 100 people. And so are you in or are you out? Because if you're out, then I'm going to go talk to the next one. Who cares? And you'll learn, in fact, I even had to reprogram my brain with this to realize, like, you know what, the first 100 don't matter, because probably all of them are going to say no. Probably all of them are going to end up in box number 4. Who knows? And so I'm just going to have all 100, because again, these are for me and my training purposes, because I had never raised money in my life. I had never gone to another human being and said, hey, will you put your money into my idea? Like, that had never come up in all of my farming days. I worked at the Apple store. Like, that never came up at the Apple store. Like, hey, would you put your money in my, no, it was like, do you want this iPhone or not? Well, you're here, and so obviously you want it. So here's your iPhone. Like that was pretty much the context of my days at Apple. Here's the iPhone that you wanted. It was never turning to like, do you want to put your money in my ideas? I had never talked to people about that kind of stuff until Renatus. And so you got to go have 100 of them. Unless you've done it, which I'm guessing you haven't, just based on your question. But unless you've done that already, you need that experience in your life. Like, you need to be able to tell the story of your first 100 people that you talk to about putting money into your ideas, your real estate ideas. And so, oh man, I just thought of another aha, just because, the subconscious mind is brilliant. And Michael understands this, that when you pose questions to the subconscious mind, it will not rest until it finds an answer. And I've been experiencing that this whole call, because Michael said, give us some of your ahas. And I had to think about the first one and we got us going. But now all of a sudden, like ahas are coming to my mind. Take note, because when you pose questions to other people in similar matters, their brains won't rest until that question is answered. But crap, now it just left me. What was it? I was talking about, oh, it's funny. It'll come back to me. But anyway, go have these conversations. 100 of them about putting money into your ideas. Oh, here it was. That's what it was. There's 3 categories of conversations that most people will have. Anybody heard? I got this from a monk, and I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's brilliant. 3 categories of conversations that people have. The first and most primitive type of conversation is about events. And it's taken me a while to like really like start grasping this, but the first primitive types of conversations that people will have is about events. A step up from that, the types of conversation people will have is about people. But the most, and I forget his wording, but the most valuable kind of conversations that people can have are about ideas. And in fact, I think what he did was place these people into like categories where like there's types of people that just like the context of their conversations are events. There are a type of people that the context of their conversations are about people. And there are a type of people, Jay Shetty, yep. There are a type of people who talk about ideas. And ever since I heard that, like it's been on my mind where it is so interesting from one conversation to the next, you can kind of tell where somebody's brain, like you can tell where their brain development is. There are not many people in the world that want to talk about ideas. Most people want to talk about events and people. And that's like the context. And it's so interesting when I'm meeting people and you know, just getting to know them and like the context of our conversations, how I almost can't talk about ideas because it's just not, you know, and I hate to say that like brain development wise, but according to Jay Shetty, like it's a true thing. And I can, you know, you can look at people's lives and you can kind of see it, but let's see, it's an indication of where they are in life. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would call that brain development. But yeah, where they are in life, like people that want to talk about ideas versus talk about people or versus talk about events. And so be watching that because people that are open to the talking of about ideas, like it's the highest level of this scale, if you will, of people's brain development. And so both Laura and Brian, like pay attention to that when you're having those conversations. What are they willing to talk about in the conversation? And you know, yeah, sure. Like it's hard to judge that if you just met them like 30 seconds ago or whatever. But once you really, you know, if somebody's willing to have conversations or carry a conversation with you, what's the context of it? Are you talking about events, people, or ideas? And it's so crazy because I'll tell you the most fun conversations I feel like I have are ideas. I mean, that's basically what this whole call is about. Is ideas. And so yeah, both things can be true at the same time. Go have 100 conversations. It'll be the most valuable for you. If depending on which box you're looking for, if you're looking for passive investors, if you're looking for active investors, or if you're looking for property with people with property problems, doesn't matter. And it's crazy because Laura will be in the act of trying to find deals and end up having conversations with people who are actually in box number 1, where they're like, "Oh, I actually just I don't want to sell any. I don't want to sell any houses. I like my house, but I've always wanted to put money in real estate." And then she accidentally, right? My stories are the same. I was trying to find active investors who wanted to come down to a Thursday night meeting, and I accidentally raised money. Oops. I was trying to find active investors, get people down to a Thursday night meeting, and I accidentally found deals. Oops. And while I was doing that, I accidentally used the passive investors' money for the property problem deals. Oops. It wasn't my intent. It wasn't my intention. It just happened because I decided I was going to have 100 conversations. Love it. All right, 9:30.
Yeah. I 100% agree, and I can actually attest to that. As a matter of fact, a couple Wednesdays ago, the way that I met that person was on a it was after a Wednesday call like this, where you're basically saying the same thing. Just talk to people, just talk to people. And I just talked to that lady, and she was a private lender, and that's just like you said, it's just having those conversations, and just getting them out the way, so uh yeah, thank you so much for that advice.
You bet, dude. Now just the most important work is what you do after this call.
Yeah,
And
for
the
sure.
show.
Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah,
All right.
well said. Beautiful. All right, folks. Like I said, we take our ideas, turn them into directives, and act on that. So let's go and make a difference. And Renatus rocks, baby. So go share the word. Go get your E3 tickets. Send the recording to an ICM needs to see it. Check out the YouTube channel, the Elevate Facebook group, the ISN chats. Stay connected, stay focused, do what's important. Don't play into the distractions of everything else. Work on your system and keep taking action. We'll be here for you. We'll see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Peace.